The war between the United States, Israel, and Iran is intensifying. Military operations are ongoing. Casualty figures inside Iran continue to rise. Diplomatic tensions between Washington and London are now spilling into public view. Meanwhile, questions surrounding the justification, timeline, and long-term objectives of the conflict remain unsettled. Let's walk through the developments in sequence. Segment 1. Military situation on the ground. The conflict that began with coordinated US and Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear and military facilities has entered a new and uncertain phase. Iranian officials report that at least 787 people have been killed since the initial wave of attacks. Strategic targets across Iran were hit in the opening operation. Tehran responded with retaliatory measures, including drone activity and threats against Western military installations in the region. One notable development: advanced Iranian drones reportedly targeted facilities connected to British forces in Cyprus. In response, the United Kingdom confirmed it is deploying one of its most sophisticated destroyers, HMS Dragon, to the eastern Mediterranean to reinforce security around its airbase at RAF Akrotiri. At present, the Royal Navy has limited major surface combat presence in the Mediterranean, making this deployment particularly significant. The region remains volatile. Segment 2. Dispute over British bases. Tensions between Washington and London have now become public. President Donald Trump sharply criticized the British Prime Minister, accusing the United Kingdom of being uncooperative during the early stages. Specifically, he expressed frustration over initial restrictions on the use of Diego Garcia, the joint US-UK military base in the Indian Ocean. British authorities had initially limited use of the base for offensive strikes against Iran. That position has since shifted, but only to allow defensive operations. The president publicly compared the British leader unfavorably to Winston Churchill, a remark that is likely to resonate strongly within the United Kingdom. The island at the center of the dispute, Diego Garcia, is part of the Chagos archipelago. Britain is navigating a sovereignty arrangement. That would transfer control to Mauritius while leasing the base back. That political backdrop complicates the current military disagreement. The exchange reflects a broader strain in transatlantic relations. Segment 3. Shifting justifications for war. That Iran posed an imminent threat. That preemptive action was required to prevent nuclear weapon development. That intelligence suggested Iranian retaliation against US targets was imminent. That action was taken in anticipation of Israeli military plans. In one recent statement, the president suggested that he may have pressured Israel into action rather than being pulled into the conflict. Meanwhile, senior officials previously testified that the United States acted to preempt Iranian retaliation that was expected after Israel's planned strikes. These overlapping explanations have raised questions among lawmakers, particularly those serving on intelligence committees, who say they have not yet reviewed the intelligence underpinning claims of an imminent Iranian attack on the United States. Clarity on that point may prove crucial in determining political support moving forward. Segment 4. Congressional scrutiny intensifies. Members of Congress are scheduled to receive classified briefings from senior administration officials. Lawmakers are expected to press for answers on several fronts. What intelligence specifically justified immediate military action? Was congressional leadership adequately consulted beforehand? What are the operational objectives? What constitutes success? What is the anticipated timeline? How does the administration intend to conclude this engagement? The president suggested the operation could last 4 to 5 weeks, but has also stated it will continue until objectives are fully achieved, leaving the duration uncertain. Congressional reaction remains fluid. Segment 5. Divisions within the president's political base. Public opinion data is still limited and early. However, preliminary polling suggests that approval for the military action may be relatively low, though these figures remain subject to change as events develop. Within the president's own party, the response is mixed. Some supporters argue that decisive military action was necessary to neutralize a hostile regime and prevent nuclear escalation. They frame the strikes as overdue enforcement against a long-standing adversary. Others within the same political coalition express concern that the operation contradicts prior promises to avoid prolonged foreign entanglements. Administration officials insist that this will not become a multi-year conflict. They maintain involvement will end once capabilities are neutralized. Skepticism remains. Segment 6. Strain on the US-UK relationship. The public rebuke directed at the British Prime Minister signals broader tension. The transatlantic relationship has faced pressure in recent years over multiple issues: trade disputes, policy differences regarding Ukraine, disagreements over defense spending, divergent approaches to territorial sovereignty matters. The current disagreement appears to have intensified those strains. While British officials may not be surprised by blunt public diplomacy, the timing and tone add another layer of complexity to an already delicate alliance. Diplomatic relationships often endure friction, but open public criticism during an active military conflict amplifies perceptions of division. Segment 7. What comes next? Several key questions remain unresolved. Will the conflict remain geographically contained? Will Iranian retaliation escalate beyond drones and maritime threats? Will allied nations maintain unified support? Will congressional authorization be formally sought? And perhaps most importantly, how long will US forces remain engaged? The trajectory of the conflict will shape domestic politics, alliance cohesion, and global energy markets. At this stage, uncertainty defines the landscape. Closing reflection. The war continues. Casualties are rising. Diplomatic relationships are under visible strain. Explanations from Washington remain fluid. Lawmakers are demanding answers. Allies are recalibrating their positions. The coming days will determine whether this conflict stabilizes quickly or evolves into something more prolonged and consequential. For now, both military operations and political fallout are unfolding. The implications extend far beyond the battlefield.